However, some people are fortunate enough to have their stories told, like celebrities, whose life stories we hear every single day on the news and the internet. But others are not that fortunate, and their experiences are left in the dark. So when I heard that the whole theme for this TED event was going to be untold stories, I'll admit I was in a state of confusion. Well, not exactly a state of confusion, more like there was a whirl of thoughts in my head. However, I knew immediately that I did not want to stand here after searching up some story on the internet, spewing those words out to you, when half of you present here might have already heard about it. I wanted to talk about something that felt personal and heartfelt. Motherhood is something that is praised in all societies. After all, why wouldn't it be? It is where all life stems from. It is praised the most, especially in Indian society. This is because in Indian society, we hold cultural and traditional significance to motherhood. Motherhood on its own requires a certain set of sacrifices. And so does parenting in general. I mean, up until a certain age, the kids are smiling at you. And the moment they turn teenagers, they all start scowling at you. Am I right? I'm sure the parents here might relate to this, right? Come on, be honest. Now, from that lovely little introduction, you might think that I'm going to be talking about motherhood or parenting in general today. If so, then no, not exactly. Today, I'm going to be talking about something far more complex with its own set of difficulties. Today, I'm going to be talking about the mothers of special children. That is, children with neurological disorders and speaking disabilities. Women primarily have kids between the ages of their late 20s to 30s. This is a young and tender age, which I'm sure many of you look back on with a lot of nostalgia. This is because many key experiences happen during this phase of life, and it feels like life as a young adult is just starting. You might have gotten your first job, and thus your first salary or your first promotion. You might have just gotten married or bought your first luxury car. However, you cannot deny that you did not have the emotional maturity you have now back then, and certainly not the emotional maturity you will have at, let's say, the age of 50 or 70. I'm not saying that age is always equal to emotional maturity. Not exactly. However, life has a way of showing you different faces and experiences, which on its own will give you a sense of maturity. Now imagine at that young age where life seems all sweet, just a bunch of roses in the park, you are hit by a wave. No, a metaphorical tsunami. That is how the mothers of such children feel when the truth about their child is first revealed to them. The question that often rings through their head is why? Why me? Why me out of all the people in this world? When people normally speak about this sort of thing, they make it seem as if it's some one in a million chance. However, when that one ends up being you out of all people, out of nowhere, it is truly heartbreaking. After all, whether we as a society choose to accept it or not, such children place severe restrictions on the social and family lives of these mothers. After all, society has a strange way of treating such women. Two polar opposites. Either they will show extreme, almost sickening pity, with the most common phrase that these children are the children of God, or else they will be vile and rude and blame the mother for this, even though it is completely not her fault. I've noticed that in our society, we often blame women for things that are completely out of their hands. But that's another story for another day. Don't want to bore you all too soon. Now, otherwise, they'll be vile and rude, like I previously stated. Both of these things don't help the mother, and both are absolutely useless to the mind numbing shock and pain she is feeling at that moment. Tensions and conflict may arise within the family due to the fact that everyone is forced to adapt. Of course, all families have to adapt during their lifetime. It is simply undeniable. Life throws you curveballs at that way. But when you are forced to adapt to a situation out of nowhere, all of a sudden, it is indeed very, very difficult. Not to mention, such disorders usually have a spectrum, actually, always have a spectrum, ranging from the lowest level to the highest level. That means each mother has to deal with a different set of situations, thus, different experiences, which makes this even more difficult to come out about in society because people simply won't try to understand it. Behavioral issues are also very, very prevalent in such children. Now, when a child in general throws a tantrum, most parents freak out and worry, especially if the child is young or a teenager. They consider it a rebellious phase or whatnot. But these behavioral issues don't last up until a certain age or during a certain phase of life. They often last for a lifetime. That means the mother has to deal with this for a lifetime. At some point, life will start to feel like a heart wrenching routine of doctors and therapist appointments desperately running around everywhere for a solution to no avail. At some point, these mothers might feel a sort of shyness to go out in society with their child. Due to all this, at that particular point in time, the mother ends up collapsing, falling down in the strenuous path of life. However, in every situation in life, there is one phase that is common to all: acceptance. It is one of the five stages of grief itself. I'm sure many of you heard about it. At some point, the mother will start to take great joy in the small achievements of her child. They will be like a glimmer of hope in the darkness. She will start to play with her child and try to understand that child's world, even if it is so foreign to her. Eventually, she will walk out in society, hand in hand with that child, and proudly say that this is my son or this is my daughter. If this is not the epitome of love, affection, and care, what is? After all, if we are going to be celebrating motherhood, shouldn't we be celebrating all types of mothers? Hmm? However, these mothers will keep falling down, keep collapsing yet again, because all life is full of its ups and downs. However, they will keep walking ahead, keep pushing forward, keep rising from the ashes like a phoenix, and continue walking down the path that life set for them. They will take great joy in the small moments of life, which truly makes life worth living. If the mother chooses to have future children who end up being neurotypical, that is, they don't have such disorders, she will have to balance things out and prioritize. Though it's not your ordinary sibling relationship, it is indeed filled with so much love and trust. The mother will fight against anyone who dares to use her child as a weak point or as an insult. Now, you might be wondering, many of you might be wondering, in fact, what was the point of this speech? Was it to completely change the way how society treats such women? No, not exactly. That's not what I believe the theme of this whole TED event is about. What I wanted to do with this speech was merely show the experiences of such mothers and not portray them as the shy, meek, and pitiful creatures that society often paints them as, but rather show their bravery, courage, determination, and selflessness for the lifelong commitments and sacrifices they make for that child every single day, which truly makes them one of the biggest, the most unsung heroes in our current society, and some of the strongest women out there. Ladies and gentlemen, and of course, my fellow students, thank you all, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the event.